Awesome. It looks like we are live, so I'm going to move my cursor over here. Got my clicker, and you guys don't care because you're here, but I forgot my cord to my camera, so the audio and video is not going to be the quality that I like because I have to use this because I'm a moron. I don't know. I pulled the cord out somewhere, left it behind, and here we are. Anyway, first things first, there is a link in the comments. So the first comment on this video and in the description, there is a link for the show notes. You're going to want to get those, and I will send you guys a link so you can download them later. If you want paper, I'll go grab your paper if you want to take notes. Otherwise, just sit and absorb. So they're there. Go ahead and grab those notes and download them so that you have everything that I said. You're not going to miss anything. All the important stuff is on that thing. So in the description or the first comment is the link for that. So welcome everybody. By way of introduction, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Brady Wirick. I practice here in Idaho Falls. I've been doing chiropractic, functional medicine, functional neurology, and regenerative medicine for the last 20 years. We basically live here because we love it. We love to be outside. We love to enjoy the outdoor amenities that we have here, and that's basically what's keeping us here and what drives us to do what we want to do. So tonight is all about the big problem that I have with people, the big problem people have that they don't know they have, and that is that they have no clue what it means to actually eat healthy. So I'll actually get a little pushback on this when I see people. They'll come in and say, well, I eat healthy because they make 3 meals a week from scratch, and then the rest of the time they're just eating who knows what. And I really just don't think people have a grasp on what it means. So I want to see if I can simplify it as much as I possibly can tonight. So the truth is that mindset is actually killing your energy. It's focusing on long-term health, and we're already getting questions come in. Cadmium, a micronutrient. Dennis, I don't know how to answer that one. I'll get back to you on that one, buddy. So that said, we're going to tell a couple stories. This is my friend Amanda. She came to me a couple of years ago, and in the picture on the left, she came in and said, hey, you know what, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to lose weight. I want to get healthy, and I want to get healthy because I want to have kids, which was awesome. So she dropped like 50-something pounds and looked phenomenal. Well, she had twins. So she's got these 2 adorable boys now. And so the picture on the left is her postpartum, I want to say 3 months, but I can't exactly remember. And then she followed some of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. And even postpartum, she dropped the weight again. And here was her just a few weeks ago up on Table Mountain. Her and her husband both packed a kid up to 11,000 feet, which is, I think that's pretty dang remarkable. So we're proud of her. She's awesome. So if you stick with me to the end of the night, guys, this is what we're going to cover. We're going to cover what I call the 5 real nutrient macros. I know there's going to be a lot of people saying, well, there's only 3. To me, there's 5. So we're going to cover what macros mean. We're going to cover all 5 of those. And at the end, I do have an offer that you're going to want to see and to hear. So I wanted to share this with you. This is one of my cases. This gal, her name was Ashley. She comes from Montana. And she came in because she had these chronic hives, and she wanted to lose weight. So chronic urticaria is the name of it. It's like nobody could figure out why this girl's skin was breaking out in hives everywhere. And I said, well, hey, this is an autoimmune issue. We did some stem cell work with her, but we also put her on a diet like we're going to talk about tonight, which calmed her immune system right down. And you can see, I asked her if I could share her story. She says, absolutely, people need to hear this. And it's not the end of the road. So her medical doctors were just dumping drugs into her. She'd get a mosquito bite or a flick on her skin, boom, hives, nasty. Since the 6 months we've been working with her, that has not come back because we cleaned up her gut. Now, we cheated with the stem cell part of it because that really helps your immune system modulate itself. But she's keeping it that way because she's eating so dang clean, which is cool. So the biggest takeaway from tonight is this: is keep it stupid simple. Notice how I switch that around. I did that, Mike, so I didn't call you stupid. But keep it stupid simple. There's nothing worse than going to the grocery store and be like, oh my gosh, what in the world am I going to eat? But if you take a step back and look at just the macros, and we're picking from foods that don't have labels, foods that were available 100 years ago, not foods that weren't, that's where we're going to make the most progress and get the most bang for our buck, if you will. So what is a macro? Well, the definition of a macro is short for macronutrients. It's the type of nutrient that your body requires in relatively large amounts to provide energy, maintain function like growth, repair, and metabolism. So the macros are the three traditional ones when we're talking about macros are proteins. Okay? Protein build and repair tissue, supports muscle and immune function. Muscle is the organ of longevity. We want to have as much as we can of it as we age. Fats, which are fuel for the brain, they're there for hormone production, they're great for nutrient absorption, and then carbohydrates. So keeping it simple, we can just break foods down into those three categories: proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Okay? And if you really want to do yourself a favor, that's when we start talking about the paleo principle, the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, which were available 100 years ago, which were meats, fruits, vegetables, raw dairy. We're not going to launch into dairy a whole lot tonight, but eggs, seeds, nuts, etc. All right. So I'm getting a lot of this here in the office. I hope this makes sense to y'all. And please feel free to ask me questions. If I don't answer it right away, I'll get to it, I promise. But in our class, we're going to expand those three. We're going to include water, which in my opinion is the most essential nutrient for hydration, energy detoxification, and metabolic reactions. When people on our program have, when they have plateaus, the number one question that we ask is, how much water a day are you drinking? Okay? And then we're also going to throw in electrolytes and minerals, which is they're essential for nerve function, for gut function, for signaling, stability, cell wall integrity, etc. So most people think that macros are just carbs, fats, and protein, but the truth is, without water and electrolytes, those macros don't even work. So if you want real energy, longevity, you need all five of these to really make it count. I love this from Antoinette. So this is a funny story. I've never met this woman ever. Like, she just bought the drops online and she set up a subscription, and within a couple of months she canceled that subscription. So when she reached out to me to say, please cancel my subscription, I was like, oh yeah, that's too bad. Another one that didn't work. So I said, no problem. I canceled it, whatever. And then she messaged me back. She goes, I'm pretty pleased. I lost 100 pounds altogether. It's like, oh, nonchalantly. I'm like, that's a lot of freaking weight. So my reaction was, holy moly, that's amazing. It took her 5 months, but it was just cool because she followed these same principles. So here's the 5 macros. Number 1, water. Number 2, protein. Number 3, fats. Number 4, carbs. And then number 5, I realized I said 3 earlier. We're putting carbs in there. Electrolytes and minerals. Let's talk about number 1. Hydration should always be your first macro. In fact, the first thing you do when you roll out of bed is to chug at least 8 gallons. 8 ounces. Not 8 gallons. That would be... You'd have a problem. It's a simple formula. You take 64 ounces of water per day is the absolute bare bones minimum. Everyone should be consuming at least that much water. I'm behind, excuse me. But if you take your body weight, your current body weight, and divide that by 2, that's the number of ounces per day you should be drinking. Okay? So if you're 195 pounds like me, you should be drinking 98 ounces of water a day. I'm way behind. Diet Coke does not count as water. I hate to burst your bubble, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you the truth. This is an article from the Journal of Neurology from 2025. The association between consumption of low and no calorie sweeteners and cognitive decline. The bottom line is this stuff kills your brain. Okay, we don't just make this stuff up. Kind of scary. Macro number 2 should be your favorite. It's protein. Right? Muscle is the organ of longevity. Protein is literally the building material of your body. Every cell, every muscle, every hormone depends on protein. If you don't get enough, your body literally starts wasting away. And here's the problem with the standard American diet. It is not enough protein. We are filling ourselves up with food that just flat out doesn't have nutrients. In fact, it's packed with what I call anti-nutrients. So even, our tacos that we had tonight, there's good stuff in there. But if you compare that to like going out and getting going to McDonald's, you're going to be consuming a lot of anti-nutrients that actually cause inflammation, break tissue down, etc. So without enough protein, your body is going to break down. Here is the equation. Again, on the worksheet, this is on the handout. Okay. In fact, on the handout, the very last page is a worksheet of just this. So you can take your calculator and go through and figure out a pretty good estimation of what your macros should be. Okay. It does not take into consideration, though, your activity level. So just bear that in mind. So protein should be your body weight times either 0.7 or 1.0. Okay. If in goal for general health or just to maintain, it's 0.7. So just to keep math easy, if you weigh 100 pounds, 70 grams. Okay, a steak about the size of your fist is somewhere between 40 and 50. Okay. Now, if your goal is fat loss or muscle building, it should be 1.0 or higher. Good sources. Okay, well, think of protein like fuel for your muscles. If you don't put enough in the tank, your body starts using parts of the car itself for fuel, breaking down muscle. Okay. Here's your good sources of protein. Animal-based proteins, chicken breast, thighs, skinless or pasture-raised are preferred. We want to stay away from the, can I say mega breasts and not have the 12-year-olds giggle? Stay away from those massive non-organic ones you see at the grocery store. They scare me. Turkey breast or ground turkey. I'm not a big fan of the way it tastes, but when you prepare it right, turkey actually has the most grams of protein per ounce, and it's almost like a cheat code. In fact, I'll have to track down. We did a ground turkey thing the other day. I'll have to track the recipe down and post it because it was freaking good. Beef, grass-fed if possible, and wild game. It's hunting season here in Idaho. So if your husbands need an excuse to hunt, there it is right there. That's the best meat you can get. Pork tenderloin, pork chops, and lamb, etc. Fish, salmon, cod, halibut, trout, sardines, tuna. You want to be careful with the farm-raised. In fact, you don't want to eat the farm-raised stuff. You want to get the wild-caught stuff, but you don't want to eat it too often because of the mercury, blah, blah, blah. So, but fish is excellent. Shellfish, including shrimp, crab, scallops. And then eggs, of course, are a fantastic source of protein. And you get the pasture-raised ones, even better. So, protein supplements. It is hard for me to get 200 grams of protein a day. It's difficult. So I do have some supplements that you can use. If you are not sensitive to dairy, there are some very clean whey protein ones out there. The grass-fed stuff, the cold processed stuff is preferred. I will say that Just Ingredients does have a really decent whey protein. So you can use those. There are great collagen peptides out there. Vital Farms, am I thinking of that correctly? Is that the one at Costco? Do you remember? Or Sam's. Vital Farm or Vital Proteins has a good one that's collagen peptides. Kim can't use dairy, so she's got some protein, plant-based protein powders that she uses that are all. Truvani is the brand that she uses and prefers. So you can get them that are non-dairy based. All right, moving on. So that was proteins. Let's talk about fats. Macro number 3 is fats. Your brain is made up of fat. The core of your hormones are made up of fat. So for whatever reason in the 80s, we were taught that fat is bad. And we all have this like demonic picture. When I say fat, you think of unhealthy. That is wrong. We have to have fat to survive. We have to have cholesterol. In fact, if your total cholesterol is below 150, your chances of chronic disease actually triples. So stew on that for a bit. Okay, your brain, the nerves, the sheath around your nerves that act like insulation in the copper wire is made up of cholesterol and fat. So when we reduce that, in fact, if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, just Google statin drugs and Alzheimer's and be prepared to be very upset. Okay? All right, so good fats. These are the ones you want to lean into. Avocado oil and avocados. Okay? Olive oil, like extra virgin olive oil, the cold pressed stuff. Cold use, I didn't catch that. It says use, it should say pressed. Hey, avocado oil, coconut oil, MCT oil, grass-fed butter or ghee. Buy it in glass containers whenever possible. It's not always available. I'll tell you right now, we have avocado oil at our house. It's in a plastic bottle because we couldn't find the glass when we needed it. So when we can get it, we grab it. Those are the good fats. And then fatty fish, and then nuts and seeds. But with nuts and seeds, I would definitely do the organic ones versus the non-organic, just to avoid some of the nasties that they spray on them. In fact, just the other day, I had a gal in here that's she's in her 20s, so she's a menstruating female and was having a hard time with a period. She's craving all this stuff. She's like, "What can I do?" And I basically just told her to eat one organic Brazil nut a day. And that gave her enough of the micronutrients that she needed to calm that reaction down. She's like, "Why didn't anybody ever tell me this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Now you know." Kind of a crazy story. So the ones you definitely want to avoid. In fact, if you have these in your pantry, go home and throw these away right now. Seed oils. We have people proclaiming health benefits to seed oils. But if you start looking into those research articles and see who funded them, but seed oils are nasty. They do nasty things to us. In fact, it's the whole omega-3, omega-6 fatty acid ratios that really screw people up. And they have actually found that violent criminals have 30 times more omega-6 fats in their brain than omega-3s. Think about these kids that are growing up on fast food and then becoming violent. So when I say that we are becoming dumber as a community, I think this is one of the big reasons why. As a community, as in like human beings, becoming dumber and more violent. Okay. Margarine, hydrogenated oils, no bueno. Do not buy fake butter. Deep fried processed foods. And Dr. Michael Crawford showed that low levels of DHA are responsible for the rise in mental ill health. Yes, I agree with that 100%, Dennis. I've seen some of those studies myself. He basically said that DHA, a drop in DHA, which is a fat, is responsible for a rise in mental health issues. Oh, and I think you would see that too with these fats. So deep fried and processed foods, we want to stay away from those. Okay. Your brain is 60% fat. 60% fat. Hormones rely on fat. The right fats are fuel, focus, mood, and longevity. But the wrong fats drive inflammation and disease. If you don't believe me, go look at the top 10 causes of death in this country for the last 45, 50 years. And they're all related back to what we just talked about. Okay. Now, most people do the best with about 0.3 to 0.4 grams of fat per pound per body weight. Again, in fact, before you guys leave tonight, I'll just print you one. Might take me a minute, but I'll print you one. But make sure you get the handout because it'll be in the calculator. So a 150-pound person should be getting around 52 grams of fat. 200-pound person should be getting around 70 grams of fat per day. Number 4 is carbs. You guys recognize who that is? It's Bobby Boucher's mom from The Waterboy. Carbs are not the devil. Refined carbs are. Or I should have written devil. The devil. Anyways, the worst carbs are going to spike your insulin, drive sugar cravings, roller coaster your blood sugar, and drive inflammation. The top 5 worst offenders are, what do you want to guess number 1 is? Sugar and fake sugar, including the no sugar stuff. Okay, so sugar in all of its forms. Somewhere I've got a sheet of all the different names of sugar that people use, and it's just like, good hell, can't we just call it sugar? And then fake sugar, things like high fructose corn syrup, and the more and more refined stuff is a nightmare. Gluten. There are a lot of people with undiagnosed gluten sensitivities. It's on a massive rise. The gluten that we have now is definitely not the wheat that was 100 years ago. It's been hybridized and sprayed, and it's just a natural enemy. Number 3 is oats for the same reasons. Number 4 is enriched white rice, where they strip all the nutrients out of it. So all it is just pure sugar. So when it hits your system, your insulin levels go absolutely bananas. And then non-organic grains, again, because of the sprays. Okay. So when it comes to carbs, think fiber, fiber, fiber. Okay. Low glycemic fruits. So you're going to want to limit your bananas, pineapples, mangoes, and grapes because of the insulin surge that they cause. But if you're thinking more berries, then you're going to get massive amounts of fiber from those. Low glycemic vegetables, which is pretty much any veggie except for potatoes, corn, peas, or carrots, they'll spike your blood sugar. But the thing is, like, if I share a recipe with you and it's got carrots in it, don't freak out. Hey, what I don't want you doing is just eating a big pile of it and call it your veggie, because that'll drive your blood sugar up. But if it's in a stew or slices of it in a stir fry, not a big deal. Okay. So here's your target for fiber: 30 to 38 grams per day for men. Women should be somewhere around 20 to 25 grams per day. When you get enough fiber, your gut bugs are really happy. Your poop gets normalized, and energy levels get stable, insulin levels get stable. I can't say enough good things about fiber. So if protein, think of it this way. If protein builds your house, fiber is the framework that keeps it standing strong. Most people get half of what they need. So here's the basic rules for our metabolic reset program. Here is how we start the core structure of it, and then we can take this information about the macros and start plugging it in. But the basic rule of thumb is this: for each of your 2 meals, there's 4 to 6 ounces of protein. Now, if you're a really big guy, you're going to want to eat more. Okay? Or if you're a little tiny gal or tiny guy, you're going to want to eat less. That's okay. If that amount of protein freaks you out and your stomach starts churning just thinking about it, we need to have a conversation about your stomach acid, because you probably don't have enough. And when you don't have enough, your food basically sits and rots, and that stuff that's coming up is actually lactic acid, not stomach acid. Kind of nasty. Okay. Then about 4 ounces of low glycemic fruit and 4 ounces of low glycemic vegetables. So the people who do our program and they get started with the program, this is what I'm going to share with them. Okay. The people who want the customized plans, that's when we get in and say, okay, we're going to look at height, weight, we're going to look at activity levels, and even foods that you like or dislike. Okay. Moving on to number 5, electrolytes and minerals. These are often overlooked. People start drinking a lot of water, thinking they need water, more water, and they actually end up flushing out electrolytes. They start feeling like crap. So sometimes we just have to replace some of the electrolytes. These electrolytes help you stabilize energy, mood, and focus. They're going to help you with sugar cravings and hunger. So you get into the program and you're about to tear the paint off the walls because you want something sweet so bad. Take some electrolytes. You'll see that get knocked down. Okay? When it comes to electrolyte, you want to focus on sodium, potassium, magnesium. Salt is not bad for you. It is demonized. It is insulin driving blood pressure, not salt. Don't believe me? Then read The Great Salt Fix by James D. I have no idea how to pronounce his last name. Sorry, man. But he's a pharmacist, and he wrote a brilliant book of why salt gets demonized. Now, my favorite brands are Redmond's Relight, Element, the Melaleuca makes a good one, Bioscience makes a good one, or there's some awesome do-it-yourself recipes. Have you noticed that Liquid IV is not on the list? They don't use very clean ingredients. Now, in a pinch, they'll do, but I would rather see you go with one of these brands or just make your own. Okay, moving on. So let's just review the 5 macros. Macro number 1 is your water, and the equation there is your body weight divided by 2 is the number of ounces you should be drinking. Macro number 2 is your protein, that is your body weight in pounds times either 0.7 or 1.0, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And then your fats is somewhere around 0.3 to 0.4 grams per body weight. And then your carbs, the thing of it is, like, if you drink all this water, you eat all that protein, and you eat all that fat, you're not gonna have a whole lot of room left for carbs. So when you stick those in there, make sure you're focusing on the fibers. Okay, and then of course the macros. You see the elements now. Target sells it. Target sells it for cheaper than what I can buy it for. Sounds like Walgreens has it too. I haven't found Redmond's locally, but I'll bet you Fred Meyer carries it. But you can go to Melaleuca and just buy theirs out of their store. So Bioscience got to get that stuff online. All right, your next step. The way I see it, you've got 3 options. Number 1, you sat with me for this long and do nothing. Or keep doing what you've been doing and get the same results. Which means, what's that the definition of? It's insanity. Okay. Number 2, take what you learned tonight, take the worksheet, figure it out, piece it together, the macros, the meal plans, they're all there, and it will absolutely change life. But you gotta learn the hard way. Option number 3, take action, which is the best choice. So what we're offering tonight is this. Okay, we have our lipotropic drops that we use in our program, that if you go to my website, you can buy those right now for $179 per bottle. Okay. Tonight we're going to offer them $99. They are, plus you're going to get a 2-week custom meal plan built by me. So when you buy the drops, it's going to be a couple days before I get back to you because I'm taking tomorrow off, but I'm going to reach out to you and I want you to fill out that worksheet, send it back, and then I will build you a meal plan based off of what is on that thing, so it's customized for you. It'll be a 2-week meal plan. And I'm going to give you full access to our digital metabolic reset program, where all of our stuff is put into videos, and there's tons of meal plans, there's tons of recipes in there. So it's like $900 worth of stuff in value. It's 99 bucks. So if that is the direction we want to go, then what you need to do is go at the bottom of that worksheet. There's a big link there. You can click on that worksheet. You can get that stuff right now and get the process going. So people online, I'm going to sign off right now. I've answered the questions that popped up. I appreciate y'all being here. But you're missing out because the real party's here in the office, because we're going to turn this off and we're going to have a good time. So I appreciate you being here. Click on that link at the bottom of the worksheet. Let's get rocking and rolling. And let's go into the next year better than you ever have been. So appreciate y'all being here, and I'm going to end this out, and I will see you very soon.